and you could sense the readiness of the people of Israel and those that we encounter. So we are grateful to be able to bring this a portion of the training here today to you. I'm also thankful that you would take time out of your busy day. We've got a lot of disciplines and different stakeholders represented here today. I think that once again speaks to why Delaware County is the best county in the state of Ohio. We've got some great counties, but this is one of the best, and it's because the leadership in this county sets aside egos and cares more about the people and getting the mission done than anything else. So I want to thank Chief Pijanowski and the Delaware County Criminal Justice Association, Chief Donahue and Chief Honeycutt, and our fire chiefs for bringing this training here. The Delaware County Sheriff's Office is here only in support of the training. So thanks again for taking time out of your day. It's with pleasure today I have an opportunity to introduce Frank LaRose, who took office as Ohio's 51st Secretary of State on January 14, 2019. Prior to being elected to statewide office, he served 2 terms in the state Senate, representing the 27th District in Northeast Ohio. As Ohio's Secretary of State, LaRose is doing his part to deliver a thriving democracy and a prosperous economy. In his role as Ohio's Chief Elections Officer, he's working to ensure Ohio's elections are both secure and accessible. He's also supporting Ohio's entrepreneurs as the sole authority to receive and approve articles of incorporation for Ohio's businesses. In the legislature, LaRose spearheaded efforts to increase government transparency and efficiency, particularly in areas of elections administration and regulatory reform. LaRose was raised in Northeast Ohio. After graduating from Copley High School, he enlisted in the United States Army with the 101st Airborne and ultimately served the United States Special Forces. And we have mutual friends in Sergeant Ramon Diaz, who serves with the Delaware City Police Department, and Sean Clifton. Were you there the night he got shot?
I was not.
Regardless, thanks for bringing Sean Clifton back alive and well. During his decade in uniform around the globe, LaRose received numerous commendations and honors, including the Bronze Star. LaRose continues to give back to his community as the junior vice commander of the Fairlawn VFW, and as an Eagle Scout himself, Frank now serves on the executive board for his local Boy Scouts of America Council. LaRose graduated from the Ohio State University with a degree in consumer affairs. He and his wife Lauren live in Hudson, and with their 3 daughters. Join me in welcoming our Secretary of State.
Thank you for that introduction, Sheriff. I have no doubt that you all are blessed to have one of the best sheriffs in the entire state of Ohio. So thank you for your work, and thanks to all of you. Thanks for leaning forward on doing a workshop like this. As you all know, at least my saying in the military, I think many of you have probably heard this as well, is that the bad guys only have to be right once. We have to be right every day. And preparing for the worst is part of what we do in government, in public safety, and in emergency preparedness. And so it's unfortunate, but in many ways there's nobody better in the world than the Israelis at dealing with issues like this. Sorry, do you need me right there so you can?
Wherever you're going to be, officer.
Perfect. I tend to be a wanderer. So.
Well, if you want to stand there, go ahead.
Nobody in the world is better at this than the Israelis, and that's by necessity. And if you've had the chance to visit Israel, then you know what the sheriff was talking about. I've had the chance to be there twice, and so the experience that you're going to hear from these presenters today is going to be one that has been earned and learned over their many years of experiencing the worst case scenario in urban terrorism. Before I get into that really quickly, though, it's something that relates to the work that all of you do that's been on my mind for the last 8 weeks since I was sworn in as Ohio's Chief Elections Officer. And I'm new to the job, but we've hit the ground running. And that is our own preparedness in my office to make sure that we're ready to continue running fair and honest elections in the state of Ohio, even in an environment where we know there are those out there, both foreign and domestic, who want to undermine the credibility of our elections. My 3rd week on the job, I got the chance to visit a secure facility in Maryland where I spent all day with other secretaries of state getting briefings from every 3-letter government agency you can think of about all of the bad things that people want to do to impact the credibility of our election. And so, you know, my team is really leaning forward on this. We've supported a piece of legislation that's been introduced that I think will make Ohio Ohio already is a leader in the nation, but I think that this piece of legislation will make sure that we maintain that leadership in the nation as far as running the most secure and most honest and fair elections anywhere in the country. And that piece of legislation focuses a lot on cybersecurity, but physical security is part of that as well. And so thanks for all that you do. I know that Election Day is a high demand, high impact day, particularly in a presidential year. And there's a lot going on that day, and so thank you all for being switched on and doing all that you can to support your county boards of elections. And of course, when you know of something that is a threat or a vulnerability that we have, I want to know about it, and I'm sure that your county board of elections does as well. And so more to come on all of that, and thanks for the work that all of you do to make sure that we can continue to run fair elections here in the state of Ohio. Now, when I first visited Israel, I was able to be hosted by my friend Iki Elner. Iki not only is the leader and the founder of the Israeli Leadership Institute, but he is also a fellow veteran. He served admirably in the Israeli military, and any of you that know about militaries know that the IDF is very good at what they do. As an Army Green Beret, I had the chance to train with the IDF, and I can tell you that in most scenarios when we did foreign training with other countries' militaries, we were usually, as the Americans, we were the ones that were teaching them. That was almost always the case, but the one time that we were training with a foreign army, when we were the ones that were doing most of the learning and they were doing most of the teaching, was when we were doing operations and training with the IDF, and particularly in urban environments. There's nobody better than them at what they do. Iki took me up on the roof of his home in Sderot, Israel, and we looked just across the valley into the Gaza Strip, and he was showing me locations from which mortar rounds and rockets are launched. He showed me the pockmarked walls and areas around schools where children have, in some cases, just 15 or 20 seconds to scurry into a bomb shelter that protects them. And so, these guys have experienced what we hope we never experience, right? And so it's great to have them here today to teach us. Just a bit about the Israel Leadership Institute. I've had the chance to see firsthand what they're doing. In a relatively young country, in Israel, in many cases, the founding generation is still around. They're working to raise up a new generation of leaders for the state of Israel, and it's a great thing that they've been doing, and I've been a longtime supporter of the Israeli Leadership Institute. And they're teaching something that really shouldn't be taken for granted. Leadership is not something that any of us are born with, whether you think you were or not. All of us had to learn leadership, and all of you that serve in law enforcement and public safety have learned leadership because it's the nature of your profession. But for those that seek to serve in political leadership, it's great to have that training platform, and the Israel Leadership Institute does exactly that. I've been to the facility where they do their training, and they have already produced several classes of real leaders for Israel, many of whom are serving in elected positions, and I believe that there will be more to come. I think there'll be a point in time here in the near future where you're going to see a large number of people serving in the Israeli Knesset and in city councils around Israel that had their training in the Israeli Leadership Institute. And I think that there'll be a point in time in my life where you'll even see an Israeli prime minister that came from the Israeli Leadership Institute, because that's exactly the kind of work that they're doing. And so I look forward to hearing about all the great things that you all learned today. Thanks so much for doing this, and Iki, thank you so much for coming here to Central Ohio and for training our brave folks that do this work. So God bless each and every one of you. Thanks, guys.